4.5 minutes here in this segment. I'm gonna Jordan, I'm gonna pull you in during the break. I think Jimmie also put a message up there in Skype, so I think he'll be joining us as well. And I'm looking forward to a great conversation talking about energy medicine, Lyme disease, and we're going to go into hopefully go back into some of the origin of Lyme disease, which some say came from Plum Island on the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory television show, where he went to Plum Island to find out the origin of many different things. Animal testing facility off the coast of Long Island. And so there was even documentation. I have the documentation right here. Actually, I don't, but during that episode, there was a documentation in there saying that Lyme was created at Plum Island, and that yes, these ticks were weaponized to do and transfer the bacteria that does and causes the problems that Lyme patients experience on a daily basis. Okay, the Montauk Monster. Yeah. I definitely talk about that too as well, Jordan. Yeah, that'll be interesting. But if you want to find out more about that, I mean, we're going to do this, we're going to have this conversation today. Just go on YouTube and type in Ventura, Plum Island or something, and you'll be able to see in there, and they'll be talking about some things that are related to Plum Island. I hear my bumper. You never call me up when I'm alone at night. All right, so I can hear my bumper there. Journey, all right, Cold Reality Radio, Oracle Broadcasting. All right, welcome back. Cold Reality Radio here in the last segment of the first hour of the program today. My guest, I have two guests today. Jordan DeYoung, energy medicine guru, and is it Jimmie Holman?
Yes.
Okay, welcome, Jimmie. People kind of know Jordan. Introduce yourself and tell the listeners a little bit about what you do.
All right. Well, I'm one of the CEOs of Pulse Technologies. The equipment Jordan uses quite a bit for not the diagnostic aspect, but the for lack of a better word, the treatment aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I've designed the equipment and been working in this field for a little over 20 years now. Mm-hmm. A field that I thought was absolute quackery when I got into it. Of course, I was brought up in the what I thought was the real world, but it turned out it wasn't. But my background has been in proprietary research and development all my life, and most of it highly classified, but the things that I was exposed to over the many years allowed me to see that, there really is something here. It's not necessarily what people think it is, but there's definitely hard science here. And with that, we've gone in and have really attacked the equipment and tried to make something decent and workable out of it, where others have just been trying to duplicate the work of someone else a long time ago. Rife, which I know y'all have talked about at length on previous shows.
Okay, can you give kind of a description? Describe Rife.
Royal Raymond Rife he started in about the 1920s, and he developed a mechanism he had to have this universal microscope. It allowed him to look in real time at the pathogens as he exposed them to an RF signal. In that time, the equipment was actually quite different, but he was using a plasma to do his work with. And there are reasons for the plasma, which get kind of technical, but basically they act as a high-speed switch. And using the concept of resonance, he was able to match up with his target pathogens and to devitalize them, or in his case, destroy them in real time. And but he had the key was he had developed a microscope that he could watch in real time as he manipulated the frequencies to see exactly what the frequency was, and then come back and hit it again and devitalize them. And he was evidently quite successful. Mm-hmm. But the politics and everything of the time, from several different areas, is exactly what you were talking about earlier in your lead-in. Mm-hmm. That's a big threat to money when you have something that doesn't rely on the patents of all the pharmaceutical companies, mm-hmm. the control that they have. Well, this just could not be allowed to happen.
Right.
At that time, the FDA, Morris Fishbein, who was head of the AMA, or AMA's journal, actually, which was a organization at that time, not of the doctors. It was mainly an organization of the pharmaceutical companies. Mm-hmm. Were put together to basically sell all these doctors pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. And and this was a threat because you needed no pharmaceuticals. And in addition to that, if you stop to think about it, the mechanism by which the people are exposed to this, it doesn't matter whether there's one person in the room or 1,000 people in the room. Mm-hmm. Nice. It kind of screws up the business model that Rockefeller and and Flexner, under the guise of putting these medical schools together.
Right, and a lot of people go over a little bit about that. As I said, Rockefeller, Carnegie hired a guy by the name of Abraham Flexner to go around America and do. I guess it was on horse and buggy at that time, because transportation was not the way it is today. And sent him around to do a inventory of what these different health establishments were, what kind of care they were giving, whether it be osteopathic, chiropractic, naturopathic, allopathic, meaning drugs. And when Flexner came back with the information, he handed it over to the mafia godfathers of this medical system that we live in today. And what they did was, if these establishments were not doing allopathic, they were offered money. So who's not going to take money? And of course, the Rockefellers and Carnegie, because they were involved in the creation of the Federal Reserve banking system, which is obviously, again, not a government bank. It is a private company that can fund certain things and offer these establishments money. They took it, and in order, when you take it, the stipulation is you will go allopathic, or you will slowly go allopathic, or you will slowly be infected by the disease that we see today.
What one really interesting tidbit of information was this was at a time when not naturopathic but homeopathic was the norm in the United States. Mm-hmm. Not allopathic medicine. Pharmaceuticals were just oil-based, petroleum-based pharmaceuticals, where they just coming into existence. Rockefeller decided he was going to invest in this. And this whole scheme was put together to ensure that they would have a substantial audience for these new products.
Like they did with Standard Oil. They were they started Standard Oil and monopolized on the early oil industry.
But till his dying day, Rockefeller continued his personal medicine. He had a homeopathic doctor to his dying day.
That's right. Yeah, he did the natural stuff, and everyone else would get the toxins and as you said, the petroleum based.
Yes, all pharmaceuticals are petroleum based.
Yummy.
Because it can be patented.
Right.
The natural things cannot be patented.
Okay.
Well, at least they used to could not be. I believe that has been changed recently. Thanks to Monsanto and all of that.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. This is just going to be the first of many of programs that I'm going to personally, kind of schedule. And if with Jordan yourself, you're welcome anytime. Whatever topic that you want to bring to the table, this platform is open to you and Jordan at any time. Just let me know.
Well, people like Jordan are the key to getting this information out. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a practitioner. I am limited as to the information I can give the end user, but I have a wealth of information that I am able to give to the practitioners, and it doesn't matter what kind of practitioner they are.
You're like you and Jordan are like a tag team, a wrestling match.
Something like that. I work with a lot of doctors. Believe it or not, there are a lot of doctors, MDs, that use the equipment quietly. Not necessarily in their practice, but let's say when you go to their homes or the members of their immediate family, their parents, our equipment is there. But I really have been appreciating.
Jimmie, hold that thought. We're going to go into a break here. We go. Second hour underway. Cold Reality Radio, OracleBroadcasting.com, Oracle Broadcasting Network. Again, we are talking about energy medicine with regard to Lyme disease and other pathogens. My guests are Jordan DeYoung and Jimmie Hallman. Jordan, go ahead and just kind of like lay down your credentials and who you are.
Yeah. My name is Jordan DeYoung. I'm in West Michigan. I'm a Zyto practitioner and certified library author. I am also a pulse technologies researcher.
Can you explain what the Zyto?
Yeah, the Zyto is like a comprehensive medical history report, and it sends signals into the body, which if they catch interference in the body, they'll change, and they're spat back into the computer program, and it basically tells me if they may have had a prior experience with some of these items that were assessed.
Okay.
So, yeah, for lack of a lot of better words, it's kind of some people would say that it's a diagnostic.
Okay.
But that's not. Yeah, AMA. It's got to be blood work or hair samples or something like that, chemically assessed. But the thing is, if it's in the body but it's not in the blood necessarily, it doesn't have to be released into the bloodstream or the urine with this technology to have an interference pattern. It doesn't have to leave the body to be assessed and to have a reaction. So that's
okay. So energy medicine with regards to Lyme disease, and we got about 2.5 minutes until the break. So just if you can like lay down a platform of the research, regarding Lyme and energy medicine, and then on the other side we'll run for the end zone.
All right. Well, if I look at like the old documents of Rife and Crane, they didn't deal with Lyme disease, but they dealt with treponema, which is syphilis,
Mm-hmm.
and they share a lot of properties. I believe they're in the same family.
They're both spirochetes.
Yeah, and they have a lot of the same symptoms. And then the Tuskegee experiments were all biowarfare.
Can you explain to the listeners out there what the Tuskegee program was?
Yeah, CIA was running around giving people syphilis and seeing, what came about from it.
Right, and wasn't it predominantly black people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were testing out drugs on them too.
They're such a loving organization, or the part of the part that's going around testing people with drugs and syphilis, which of course is kind of like worms. Is it like
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Microscopic worms.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spiral-shaped bacteria that can actually even drill itself down into bone or any sort of hard tissue. So it can be pretty devastating.
Wow.
Then when I was talking about the circulation aspects of how these drugs and or supplements are going to work, if it's in bone, if it's past these membranes, it's going to be hard to circulate them there.
Yeah.
So it can only safely hide out in its bug out shelter.
So there's certain things that will can once it gets in, they can activate it, make it stronger, or weaken it. These spirochete.
I believe that it hides, mutates to a form that's totally antibiotic resistant.
All right, hold that thought, Jordan. We got about 10 seconds to the break here, and okay, we're back. Cold Reality Radio, Oracle Broadcasting, talking with Jordan DeYoung, Jimmie Hallman. We're talking about energy medicine and how it, with regards to Lyme disease, but we're going to be talking about MRSA. We're going to talk about a number of things because it all kind of fits together in a way. So continue where you think what direction you think we should go in at this point, Jimmie or Jordan?
Yeah, Jimmie, do you want to address the research that's going on, or do you want me to?
Well, I think you actually said something about it on the last program that you did, so I think I'm going to just take it from there. We've actually been doing a lot of research, and we're fixing to be doing a lot of research specifically in Lyme. But we didn't start with Lyme, and we started with the MRSAs, which are probably going to be more difficult. I've been setting up, it's taken almost 20 years to gather a group of labs that doesn't have pharmaceutical attachments. That's very difficult, but have been finally successful in doing just that. We have now done 2 rounds of MRSA tests from taking 3 sets of worst case scenario MRSAs. MRSAs are the methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. Those are the superbugs in the hospitals. And they're nasty. The antibiotics don't work.
So how do they in that environment, that sterile environment? How do people? How do they, get the MRSA? How do they get the staph? I believe, as I said, it's on the equipment when it goes in there.
Well, you're right. And one, the sterile environment isn't sterile, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, when you figure I believe the statistic was 20% of the, I could be wrong on this, but I have heard this particular figure over and over again. 20% of the hospital's income profit occurs from the treatments of these MRSAs.
Wow.
These co-infections, complications from operations.
Yeah, the complications that they. Yeah.
Well, there's big money in it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, so this was one of the areas we decided to get into to look at, because one, it's not an easy thing to do, because the Staphylococcus aureus, it's kind of difficult to tell whether it's dead or alive. It looks the same, but there are ways of using special dyes to indicate whether it's alive or dead. And we have done. It's easy to tell whether it's alive because it grows and multiplies. If it's dead, though, or dormant, it's not necessarily dead. But if it's dead, it will absorb, I believe it's trypan blue, the dye. And anyway, so we had set up some pretty elaborate experiments that were designed over a period of time. And this was also shown to do the quantum effect, which to indicate one of the aspects of quantum mechanics, because what we're dealing with is not electromagnetic emissions like you would normally think of, but we were able to kill all three. In our first round, we only killed the first set, one of 3 sets. These were 3 sets came from 3 different labs across the country. They were consolidated in a 4th lab, and they were consolidated in a 4th lab, and then monitored by from what I understand, a 5th lab. We were given 2 sets of each of these cultures. We exposed them to the plasma for a given amount of time, very specific frequencies, which I had calculated out. And on the first round, we were able to kill one of the sets, both locally and remotely. One of the labs kept the set 43 miles away. And that sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's not. We were actually expecting this to show up. Mm-hmm. On our next round of testing that we did, I modified the numbers, knowing that the mutations of these other 2 sets was farther out. I widened the spectrum, which is something we can do electronically that a pharmaceutical can't do. And we were able to successfully kill all 3 sets. And these were all 3 new sets that we got for the second round. Mm-hmm. But we were able to kill all 3 at the plasma, all 3 43 miles away. It was not our device that killed it 43 miles away. It was the instructions being given by the MRSAs to the other MRSAs. This is referred to as a non-localized event. There's a communication that goes on between cells. Mm-hmm. A death instruction. This goes back to Russian technology.
Wow, a death instruction? That is.
It's a death instruction that the cell gave its family members.
Okay.
As they were shutting down, the others were shutting down.
Wow, it's just like a universal pulling of the plug, if you will.
Yeah. So as you can see, the implications are enormous.
Okay.
But we're totally successful. We also realized in our second set there was other aspects built into the experiment, whereas we realized that steel can't. Now I got to tell you that the samples that were 43 miles away were kept in a steel cabinet, which also meant that it was not an electromagnetic effect.
Okay.
because that's essentially a Faraday cage. We found that the only way you could protect it was by keeping it in. I have a steel and lead lined safe.
And the Faraday cage is, for people out there to know what that is I think they're kind of selling them now. They're becoming more prevalent in the environment because you can put electronic devices inside there, like cell phones and possibly computers. And in the event of electromagnetic pulse or something, they would not be rendered useless. Whereas the pulse would knock out pretty much everything.
Correct.
Okay.
I think a lot more things will survive than we've been led to believe. But the fact of the matter is, it's a electrically isolated chamber.
All right, hold that thought.
Electromagnetically.
Hold that thought, Jimmy. We're going into a break here. Well. We are back here at Co-Reality Radio, talking about very, very important information. And I'm not just saying that because, it's my program and I want people to listen. This is, just astounding technology that has been stifled by the powers that shouldn't be. And the energy medicine, frequency technology, and things like that. Speaking with Jordan DeYoung and Jimmy Hallman, and you guys just pick it up from where we were.
Okay. Did you want to say something first, Jordan?
No, I'll just let you go on. I mean,
okay.
I want to say that maybe I had Lyme disease. I got the IGNX test, and I have had it, so I know what I'm talking about from a personal level as well.
Well, I've known so many people with Lyme that actually is one of our main focuses, and that is where our testing has begun. As you're probably aware, it's very difficult to get Lyme, this type of research done on Lyme. You're going to be, it's just not going to happen. I came to that realization.
Because it would expose, if that research were done, and then of course the criminal, complicit, shameful media was to actually report something on it, we would find out more about Lyme disease I think the liability of the CDC would come into play, and that would be dangerous and upsetting to a lot of people. More of the house of cards would come tumbling down. You said CDC?
Yeah, CDC.
Center for Disease Control, yeah. Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yes.
Okay. Another compromised organization, no doubt.
Yeah, but actually, for that reason, I've been in this stuff for 20 some odd years now, and we do actually. If you call our Dallas phone number, it rings in Romania. We do a lot of our work in Eastern Europe. Mm-hmm. The underlying science that we were talking about earlier has more to do with Soviet weapons development than it does Western medicine. Mm-hmm. But the mechanism that we were discussing earlier, that communication that we were talking about between the cells is probably well known, and it's probably referred to as a quantum entanglement of photon pairs. I wanted to emphasize there is no magic to what's going on. Mm-hmm. It is just not the simple electromagnetics that we were taught in school. Mm-hmm. It's just different. And the thing is like when we went to school, we were taught there were several states of matter: solid, liquid, gas. Well, they lied to us. There's another one. It's plasmas. Mm-hmm. But you ask a Japanese kid, that's in elementary school, they can tell you that there's at least 4 states of matter. You ask most college graduates how many states there are, and they will still say 3. So we have really, really fallen behind the rest of the world. We have very competent people in Eastern Europe, They have not had the resources, so they've had to use their minds.
Right.
And so for that reason alone, we, not that reason alone, but that is one of the primary reasons we do so much of our work over there. All of our Candida work was done over there, and much of this work will also be done. But with the concepts that I've just talked about, we know Lyme is an enormous problem.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is we are in the process right now of acquiring the proper samples that we think will be realistic expectations and proving out some of these methods on people. We now have the backing to get a lot of this work done that would never otherwise be able to be done.
Right. Jimmie, I just want to get your personal opinion on this. Do you believe that Lyme disease was created?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. There's not any doubt in my mind.
Do you believe that these ticks were weaponized, that they were worked on and then released into our living environment?
Absolutely.
Wow. Jordan?
They still are.
But I have a little bit. I heard your lead in. You were talking about it being released from Plum Island.
Right.
I believe it was released near Plum Island, but I don't believe it was released by that lab. There is good reason to believe that it was released under a. There's actually a couple of books out. One in particular, I'm sorry, I cannot think of the name of it, but it was released as part of a Russian program.
What is it? Rachel Verdon's Lyme disease and the SS Elbrus?
That was that's one of the books. Yes.
Okay.
But that gives you pause for thought, and
the dog hates Lyme too. Listen to him.
Or something. I can fix that as best I can.
Right. Okay, I didn't want to knock you off pace there, but I just wanted to get your personal opinion of whether you thought it was great or not.
Yes. The remarkable part about it, some of the people that we're working with work with Fritz Popp, who was the one that realized that there was light being emitted from all the DNA in every cell. And we suspect that that's where the communication is actually coming from. The person that we expect actually created Lyme, I suspect, is a guy named Koznishnyev, who was a very famous bioweapons researcher, who probably would have gotten a Nobel Prize had his work not been in bioweapons research. But he was working, it's my understanding, he was working on bioweapons that only had electromagnetic cures.
Okay.
Now, ironically, the Russian, a lot of the stuff was declassified with the fall of a lot of the weapons research was declassified with the fall of the Soviet Union, but the cure part was not declassified.
Mm-hmm.
And it's my understanding he became their equivalent of the Surgeon General. But it looks like we may actually have access to him through some of our other associates, Eastern European associates.
Right. Now, I want to say over the last 3 or 4 years, I've heard some of these so-called conspiracy theories. We just lost half the audience because I said conspiracy theory. There have been a number of scientists that have dealt with bioweapons research that have strangely come up dead. Plus, the guy who was found in a dumpster that had ties to the Bush administration or something like that. Remember that guy? He was like incoherent babble or something like that, and he turned up to be he turned up dead somewhere. And then, of course, there were connections to that he was involved in some of this bioweapon stuff.
Damage control.
Damage control, right? I forget what the guy's name was, but I'll try to pull it up during the break. You got about 15 seconds. Again, we're talking with Welcome back to Cold Reality Radio here on the Oracle Broadcasting Network. Shali, I'm your host. We have about a half hour left in the program, the second hour. We're talking about energy medicine with Jordan and Jimmie. And guys, just pick up from your
Okay.
area of expertise on that.
Well, I'd like to finish up with the Lyme testing that we're doing.
Sure.
And there's a lot there's going to be a lot involved with it, and it's stuff that most of the public would bore them out of their mind. However, it's important aspects. But we're trying right now, the experiments that we have set up, or the mechanism we have set up, will allow us to hopefully find very specific frequencies. And it's not just dealing with the Lyme. Plus, there is actually more than one spirochete we know now that is involved. But from a practitioner standpoint, all they're really interested in, and all the end users are really interested in, is something to work with. And it is a system that basically relies on the person treating themselves. It's very difficult at times when you're dealing with a person that has Lyme. The thinking is not, the financial resources have often been taken. The mental resources have often been taken. The health definitely has been taken. So you've got a lot of things going against you just starting out. All the previous treatment, typically allopathic, has totally failed. Mm-hmm. And so it's really important to get with a Lyme literate practitioner, regardless of whether it doesn't matter as much what their credentials are, in my opinion, as I've seen certain patients that are far more literate than an MD. Most MDs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, you know,
they've had to. They've had no choice. Mm-hmm. They had to take medicine.
Patient, heal thyself.
That's true. But anyway, so we're actually working on right now to come up with I've designed special equipment to go in and do these experiments and testing and validation. We've got the labs set up, the equipment set up. That's all been done now. It's taken a long time to get done, but it has been done. And even if something was to happen to me, there's other people now that are in place it was done in a manner that the work can be done. Mm-hmm. And the thing is the treatment mechanism is relatively easy. I feel it will eventually be something much like a TENS unit. It's something simple that a person can put on their belt a couple hours a day and continue their business.
Wow.
When you're looking at it from that standpoint, it's something, and see their practitioner a couple of times a month for monitoring. The monitoring of practitioner like Jordy is invaluable. It's real because they can recognize, especially with the Zyto, they can recognize certain deficiencies that are going on, such as, well, you don't have enough magnesium. Well, magnesium is actually critical to a lot of the electrical things that are going on.
Right, like restless leg syndrome. You could take yourself some magnesium and you know, it goes away. You know, calcium too. Calcium's very important.
Well, both of those are actually conductive metals. Calcium too. I didn't realize it was a metal for a long time. But anyway, but all it does is it's making it more conductive, making the system more conductive. So it's just a deficiency. So many things that we do because of the foods we eat, it's just deficiencies.
Yeah, exactly. Mineral deficiencies or nutritional deficiencies directly related to a plethora of health concerns and problems.
Yeah, I think Jordy has mentioned him once before, but Dr. Steve Haltwanger is an excellent person to educate the folks. Anyway, Jordy, why don't you walk through people through what you normally do with a Lyme patient, and maybe explain how they would utilize the equipment both wherever.
Yeah, a lot of people I see face to face. I've always worked in clinics. I'm a born clinic right now. Either way, they're going to be hooked up to the Zyto, and they're going to do a process assessment that will kind of it'll give me an outline of what they're dealing with, whether it's deficiencies, what microbes they're responding to, and the MRSA and the Lyme I've seen at least electrically respond both in the same patient. So like sometimes they can go together. So they do the Zyto, and I see if they're going to need the standard set of frequencies for the Lyme, or somewhat slightly different variants of which seems to be very important, and also the deficiencies. And then definitely when people if they have the PFG or plasma device, I'll build programs for them at first, because I have to set up their defaults and all that. I bring them through the Zyto, see what they respond to, and then set up a self-treatment plan for them. So that's what the whole consulting boils down to. And then it's up to them to treat themselves and heal themselves with this plan that I put together based on their electrical responses.
Awesome. And this can be done, from your location with somebody, miles away.
Yeah, if someone has the internet and they have the Zyto hand cradle, then it doesn't matter. If we both have internet connection, it's the same as if they were seeing me face to face.
Awesome.
And depending on where gas prices are, and they're usually expensive, and that's a lot of the cost of that a Lyme person incurs, because not too many doctors will see someone for Lyme disease, although they know about it because of low patient outcomes with the allopathic medicine. They'll have to drive hundreds of miles to see some physician that will even address that they have that problem. But oftentimes it's years, and they've been defunded significantly, and they may still have it. And the thing is that you're getting this thing from an insect. So you're not just going to deal with it one time in your life. I would say most likely many times throughout your life. I know I have dealt with it a few times and gotten to where I have no response to, any Lyme, either treatment frequencies that I'm doing on myself or electronic signatures of which, and definitely no symptoms. And then I went down to Ohio. I got bit by a tick in the neck area, because they'll usually go inside the thighs or the armpits, fingernails. They love the head, and to get in your hair in these warm areas where they're very hard to see. Give you a little bite, transfer the bacteria cocktail that they give to you, and then all of a sudden you're sick. And sometimes like Timothy Gray from Under the Eight Ball, his sister got Lyme from a spider bite. And in South Africa, I think it's been recognized that mosquitoes can transmit it as well. So that's where I think, having some ability to deal with this yourself from home is extremely important financially and just for your well-being.
Awesome. So this, you said that as long as they have an internet connection, and then and this other device, what is this other device you said? The Zyto?
It's a Zyto hand cradle. It's the same piece of hardware that I have in the office, or if I'm doing a house call. And it's just something that goes on your hand. It's blue. It's 4 by 5 inches or so.
Mm-hmm.
You put your hand on it. My computer tells your computer what signals to run through that device. And then,
Jordan, hold that thought right where you're at. We're going to go into a break. We're going to come into the last segment and continue with this Cold Reality Radio, oraclebroadcasting.com.
If you take life, do you know what you get?
All right, welcome back to Cold Reality Radio here. The report today has been the Cold Reality news and report. There's, it's a combination. It's a hybrid, whatever it is. It's I'm hoping that it's being enjoyed, and that the information we're talking about today can proliferate out there to the masses, so that they can understand that not everything's on the up and up. This media, this system, somebody created this Lyme disease, and it doesn't get the really important information about it, does not get out there, so that we can understand better about it. Because if it did, then we would realize that I would probably say, am I under attack? Or is humanity itself under attack? It's not only just Lyme disease, it's geoengineering, aerosol spraying programs that most people just stare at the sky and say, I wonder what's on American Idol tonight. Justin Guarini's going to be on.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him since the first season. What a great night of television. Anyway, we know that television is there to entertain, but yet also to deceive and disinform or misinform, or just all F up the viewer's mind. Great invention, but it's been used in the most draconian, malignant way that you can imagine that something can be used against the masses of people. So Jimmie, Jordan talking about energy medicine, Lyme disease. Let's pick up in this last segment and we'll just get the relevant information out. We'll get web pages. If people out there want to do more research, we hope that you do. So Jordan, Jimmie, thoughts?
Yeah, let me just wrap this up.
Okay.
If someone wants to, treat themselves at home, they need that Zyto hand cradle. That has to be ordered through some practitioner. People can find it online, just doing a Google search, and I don't make any money off of that, so I don't really care where people get that. Sometimes it ends up, used on eBay, that sort of thing. But I would suggest at minimal the PFG2Z with pulsed LED, because that breaking people into detoxification seems to be necessary to be done with some form of light therapy, and to stimulate the detoxification and healing processes with the pulsed LED. Instead of, I've run into some allergy problems or it's just detoxification overload problems with the contact alone. But the pulse LED has been excellent. The plasma, of course, is definitely the way to go if people can get into that, but it's quite a bit more money.
All right, Jordan, Zyto, what is? Can you spell that?
Zyto, Zyto.
Zyto hand cradle, right?
Yeah, Zyto hand cradle.
And of course, just to put it out there, Jordan's not making any money off this. I'm not making any money. When you purchase this, this is about having a device that you can participate in this in these breakthroughs in technology. And guys like Jordan, guys that do what Jordan does and what Jimmie does. This is such amazing stuff, and you guys are just on the brink of hopefully a brave new world, not in the sense that Huxley was talking about or Orwell, where we would enjoy and love our servitude to the state with the drugs that they've created to create zombies, and of course cell phone technology that causes brain damage and all this other stuff. So there it is, ZYTO. Give it a Google search and continue, Jordan.
Yeah, Jimmie's website is pulsedtech.com. That's PULSEDTECH.com. Zyto's website is ZYTO.com. I can be found on YouTube if you search either Zyto or Pulsed Technologies, and my channel name is Ondamed, ONDAMED, JEDI.
The Jedi.
The Jed, yeah.
The Jed, yeah.
Yeah. And Ondamed I kept because it just means medical wave in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the caller and want to bring him in.
Yeah, Richard from Washington, please call back in. We got about 5 minutes. I was going to try to pull you in there during the break to bring you in there. We just kind of got involved in a lot of this really amazing, mind-opening information here, and I didn't see that you were in the queue there until right before the last break. So if you want to call back in, Richard, we'd love to give you about 60 seconds or something to find out what you wanted to talk about. You can always email me at Sholyak@coldrealitynews.com, SHOLLYAC@coldrealitynews.com. So we're going to be doing many more of these, talking about this stuff. So we'd love to hear from you.
Well, a lot of these groups on Facebook and stuff, when people start researching Lyme and Rife machines, they've been kind of put together with bad information and extremely old, outdated frequencies. I think Jimmie was contacted about his device, and he was asked to give his device for free, which he didn't want to give to this Bosner character.
Mm-hmm.
But
the hatchet man for the New World Order, no doubt. Or possible hatchet man.
It's to be given for evaluation, and I really had to ask what is their qualifications for being able to evaluate it, and there was none.
There you go. Red flag.
Unfortunately, when it comes to the plasma equipment, we have multiple devices. The plasma equipment itself, understandably, is far more expensive. It is drastically different from most of the other stuff that's out there, say in the Rife community. We put a lot of our information out there for free, a lot of information. A lot of the old Rife documents. We put thousands of pages, video out there available for free while other people are selling it. We put it out there for free to make sure that and we're fixing to release a little bit more. We recently put the pictures of the famous Rife number 3 out there, and which is in good hands.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're paid.
It is not lost. It was not lost.
What was that, Jordan?
Is that Payday was saying the other night that there was one Rife microscope, it was lost, and that's just not the case.
There were 5 microscopes built, each and every one of them different, but there was only one universal microscope made, and that was the very famous one. It has supposedly been lost to history. It's not lost. It's being rebuilt. It's in safe hands. And probably should remain there. And
got about 20 seconds, guys, and I'm going to break it down.
But anyway, The equipment, the plasma equipment is expensive for a reason. Our stuff goes many times higher, while others are limited to around 10,000 hertz. Ours will easily go to 150,000.
Okay.
That's a significant difference, and it is needed for the work that is being done now, the biological work that is being done now.
All right, absolutely awesome. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today on here, and I look forward to you guys joining me again in the future to talk about many different things in this arena. Jimmie Hallman, pulsetech.com, and Jordan DeYoung, Zyto, was that again? Is Zyto?
ZYTO.com.
ZYTO.com. All right, so this is the end of another, the first live broadcast of the year. And guys, hold on. Once we get disconnected, I'll give you a call back because I want to kind of follow up with you. Thanks for joining us today. My goal is to get information out there that's going to help humanity. I mean, that's not bullshit. This stuff needs to get out there, and I want to be one of the people that's going to bring it to you. And so do these gentlemen that joined with me today. Stay tuned for Jason Erb, Exposing Faux Capitalism.